Hey, this is Martini here, and the book that I read this month was Getting Real by Susan Campbell. And I was really impressed with this book. The book is about the practice of being more genuine, being more authentic. And I was really impressed with this book because although the language that it uses is a bit too new agey for my taste, I did find that the content and the concepts were profound and they were accurate. According to my own experience with introspection, I found them to be very, very accurate, very on point. For example, one of the very first things that I read from this book was that in order to be honest, in order to be genuine, you have to accept the present, right? Do you recognize you have to be aware and accept the present and accept the way the things are, live in the present, right? So at first I try to understand, like, yes, you have to be aware of the present because if you want to be honest, you have to be honest about what you have, what you see. You can't tell somebody the truth unless you know the truth, right? But the other one was something that I had to analyze. At first I didn't really understand it, but because of my own personal experience with introspection, I was able to make the connection, right? And the reason why this happens is because when you have, people lie because they have too many desires, right? People lie because they don't like the truth, to put it simply. People lie because they don't like the truth, and the truth is the way things are. And if you can't accept the way things are, then you're going to try and manipulate. This means that you have fears about the way the things are. That means that you have desires and you wish that things could be another way. And when you have desires and when you have fears, you try to control things to make things go your way. That's just what happens when you have too many desires and too many fears. You don't say things the way they are. You say things in order to satisfy those desires. You say things in order to avoid those fears. And this just happens naturally. If you ask an expert manipulator why they manipulate, they'll tell you no, that's not what they're doing. They're just looking out for themselves. They're not trying to hurt others. They're just looking out for themselves. This is because they have too many desires and too many fears, right? And so when you say things in order to satisfy those, in order to avoid those fears, right? So when you accept the present, right? When you let go of your desires and when you let go of your fears, you're more able to just say things. You're not afraid to say things the way they are. So right off the top, that was my first impression. I didn't really like the language, but I did find truth. I did find accuracy with my own experience in the concepts, and I did find them very profound. I'll share with you some of the most important concepts that I found in this book. And one of them was self-honesty. Sometimes it's very hard to let go of a plan once you've put in a lot of effort into it. What's that? It's called sunk cost fallacy, right? The fact that when you've invested so much into something, even though if it's not working, you still continue with that plan, even though you know that it's not going to work. And she said that in our time specifically, when things are changing so rapidly because of technology, because of all the science, because of all the knowledge that's coming, we invest into something, and it's very important for us to those people that have most success are those people that are able to come to terms with what they're doing, admit that everything that they've done, everything that they've invested into is useless now, and they're able to scrap that and start all over again. So be honest with yourself. When you see something wrong, admit it to yourself. You just got to accept the reality of things and move on. Another concept that I found more impressive is that a lot of times honesty comes in layers, right? And sometimes you cannot really see what you're feeling. You cannot really tell what you're feeling until you let go of the top layer. For example, and this is a very crude example, just so that you understand the concept. Let's say that you're very angry with a person, but you don't want to hurt the person's feelings, right? Well, at first, you're just so blinded by the anger that you cannot see how you value this person, right? And you have to let go of this top layer. You have to express your anger first, and then when you express your anger, then once that's out, then you're more able to see how you value the person, right? You'll notice that you'll start to regret saying that, and you'll start to see reasons why you still want that person around. But you cannot tell how much you want that person until you let go of that top layer, right? So, and then once you let go of that bottom layer, then you'll find more and more layers. Being honest, being genuine comes in steps a lot of the time. A lot of times it involves layers. And so the practice kind of involved kind of like a finesse of opening up all those levels of layers one at a time, right? If you go too much to another extreme, you might not be able to open up the second layer later on. Another concept that I thought was very important was being approachable, right? There is the sense in which you have to be genuine with others, but also helping others be genuine with you. And the way that you do that is that you're very graceful with with other people's feedback, right? You're very receptive to feedback, right? Because if you're not approachable and other people can't give you feedback, or every time somebody gives you feedback, you react in a negative manner and discourage the feedback, they will still have those negative feelings against you, but they won't express them to you, and they'll only express them in a way that's kind of indirect, kind of passive aggressive. And so one of the quotes that I really like reading from this section was this one: asking for feedback means that people won't be backstabbing you. So yes, so it's very important to receive feedback, to ask for feedback, because so those feelings, that resentment won't be held, won't grow inside the other person, and they'll end up backstabbing you later on.